Have you ever sat down to enjoy your favorite meal? Maybe a warm slice of buttered toast in the morning or a comforting bowl of creamy soup in the evening and thought, I've been eating this for years. How could it possibly be hurting me now? It's a familiar thought. After all, if something hasn't made you sick by now, why worry, right? But here's the truth. As we age, especially after 65, our bodies begin to respond differently to the very same foods we've always loved. What once gave us energy and joy can slowly become a silent burden, especially on our heart. The heart, that tireless muscle beating away day and night, becomes more vulnerable to even the smallest dietary choices. And often, the foods doing the most harm aren't the ones we expect. They're not deep-fried or dripping with oil. They're quiet, subtle, hidden in plain sight. That's exactly why this conversation is so important. Because you deserve to enjoy your golden years with strength, clarity, and peace of mind, not held back by fatigue, breathlessness, or scary doctor visits. And the good news? A few small changes, starting with what's on your plate, can have a powerful impact. So today, we're talking about 6 foods that might be silently damaging your heart after 65. And before you think this is going to be another lecture about giving up all your favorites, don't worry. This isn't about restriction. It's about awareness, about making simple, smart swaps that protect your health without stealing your joy. Let's start with the first one, and it might surprise you. Processed meats. Think deli slices, bacon, sausage, and even those low-fat turkey slices that seem harmless enough. The issue here isn't just fat, it's what's hidden inside. Nitrates, sodium, preservatives. These are chemicals your heart has to deal with every time you take a bite. Over time, these ingredients can cause inflammation in your blood vessels, raise your blood pressure, and put extra strain on your heart. And you might not feel it immediately. That's why it's silent. You go about your day thinking everything's fine, until one day it's not. I remember speaking with a gentleman in his late 60s who had always started his morning with a few slices of bacon. It was his comfort food. He never thought twice about it. But when he was hospitalized for high blood pressure and asked to change his diet, he was shocked to learn his breakfast routine was part of the problem. He switched to eggs with spinach and a slice of avocado toast. And not only did his blood pressure improve, but he said he felt lighter and more energetic throughout the day. That's the kind of shift we're talking about. Simple, practical, and doable. Now let's talk about another sneaky culprit: white bread and refined grains. These foods have been a staple in many of our diets for decades. Soft sandwich bread, white rice, pasta, crackers. But here's the thing. These processed grains are stripped of their natural fiber, which means they're digested very quickly, causing a sharp spike in your blood sugar. That sugar surge forces your body to release more insulin, which over time contributes to inflammation and damages your blood vessels, making heart disease more likely. And it's not just about diabetes or weight gain. These blood sugar swings can also leave you feeling drained, moody, or even foggy-headed, something many people assume is just part of getting older. But it doesn't have to be. Switching from white bread to whole grain or sprouted grain bread can make a big difference. Try brown rice instead of white or even quinoa. The fiber in these options helps stabilize your blood sugar, support your digestion, and most importantly, protect your heart. I know change can feel overwhelming, especially when we're used to eating a certain way. But think of it like tending to a garden. You don't need to tear everything up. You just need to nourish it with what it really needs. And once you start to feel the difference in your energy, your sleep, even your mood, you won't want to go back. And speaking of sneaky ingredients, let's not forget about packaged snacks labeled as low-fat or diet-friendly. These might seem like a healthier choice at first glance, especially with words like heart smart or light on the packaging. But many of these snacks are full of hidden sugars, artificial sweeteners, and chemical preservatives that can confuse your metabolism and stress your heart. The irony? In trying to eat healthier, you might accidentally be doing more harm than good. There's one woman I remember in her early 70s who had switched to low-fat cookies and crackers to help with weight management. But she was still feeling tired, bloated, and irritable. Once she cut back on those processed diet foods and focused on natural, whole snacks like fruit, a handful of nuts, or plain yogurt, she said she felt like a fog had lifted. Sometimes it's not about eating less, it's about eating smarter. Now, let's talk about something many of us have had a long relationship with: butter, margarine, and those creamy spreads we've grown so fond of over the years. There's nothing quite like spreading a bit of it on warm toast or adding it to a batch of mashed potatoes. It's comforting. It reminds us of home-cooked meals, family dinners, and traditions. But here's what most people don't realize. Some of those creamy additions are packed with trans fats, or saturated fats that clog the arteries over time, little by little. You might think, but I don't eat that much of it, and that may be true. But even small amounts used regularly can build up in the body's system. Trans fats especially are the sneakiest. They hide in processed spreads and some baked goods, and what they do is raise your bad cholesterol, the LDL, and lower your good cholesterol, the HDL. That's like turning off the body's natural defense system and opening the door to heart problems. And the scary part? You won't feel it happening. There's no pain, no symptoms, just silent damage. I once had a neighbor around 68 who was always active, gardening, walking every morning, but he couldn't figure out why his cholesterol levels kept creeping up, despite his healthy lifestyle. It wasn't until his doctor had him write down everything he ate that they noticed how often he used margarine, thinking it was a healthier alternative. After switching to olive oil and avocado for most of his cooking and flavoring, his numbers improved significantly, and he still got to enjoy rich, satisfying meals, just with better ingredients. See, the goal isn't to eliminate all flavor or comfort from your food. It's to understand which choices nourish your body and which ones quietly wear it down. Now let's look at sugary drinks, and not just sodas. Sweetened iced tea, flavored coffees, those fruit juices that seem healthy because they're labeled with words like natural or vitamin-rich. The truth is, after 65, your body becomes even more sensitive to the effects of sugar, especially liquid sugar, that enters the bloodstream quickly. It causes your blood sugar to spike, which in turn can inflame the arteries and increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, and even memory loss. And here's the frustrating part. These drinks are often marketed as energizing or refreshing, but what they're really doing is stealing your energy, not giving it. That mid-afternoon crash you feel, that brain fog, that sudden irritability, a lot of that can be traced back to blood sugar spikes and drops, often triggered by these drinks. A woman I know who recently turned 70 told me how she used to sip sweetened iced tea throughout the day because she thought it helped her stay hydrated. When she swapped it out for infused water, just slices of lemon, cucumber, and mint, she said she didn't even miss the sweetness after a few days, and more importantly, she started sleeping better, felt less bloated, and even her skin looked healthier. It's amazing how something as simple as what you drink can ripple through every part of your health. And again, this isn't about perfection, it's about intention. Once you realize that every sip and bite is a chance to help your heart instead of hurt it, things start to shift naturally. And finally, for this part of our conversation, let's talk about a food that sounds innocent enough but can be surprisingly damaging. Canned soups and instant noodles. We've all relied on them at some point. They're quick, easy, and comforting. On a chilly day, who doesn't want a warm bowl of soup? But here's what's hidden beneath the surface: sky-high levels of sodium. Too much sodium can cause your body to retain water, which increases blood pressure and forces your heart to work harder than it should. And unfortunately, many canned soups and noodle packs contain nearly your entire day's worth of recommended sodium in just one serving. That's no small thing, especially when your heart is trying to age gracefully and quietly without added strain. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy a bowl of soup again, but try this. Next time you're craving one, see if you can make a simple version at home. Toss in some fresh veggies, low-sodium broth, a little garlic and herbs, and you've got a meal that soothes your soul and supports your heart. And if cooking feels like too much, look for soups that say low sodium or no salt added on the label. Your heart will thank you for it, even if it never says a word. So there we are, from the butter and spreads we love to the sweet drinks and cozy soups we turn to for comfort. It's clear that some of our most familiar foods can quietly work against us. But knowing is power. And once you start to notice these foods, not with fear, but with understanding, you'll be able to make simple shifts that feel good and do good at the same time. Think of it this way. Every meal you prepare, every snack you choose, it's like giving your heart a little. So far, we've talked about some familiar comfort foods: meats, breads, spreads, drinks, and even those cozy canned soups that may be doing more harm than good. And if you've found yourself thinking, well, that's half my pantry, you're not alone. These foods are everywhere, and many of us have built years of routine around them. But remember, this isn't about guilt. It's about growth. You're here, you're learning, and that already makes you stronger than you were yesterday. Now, let's talk about the last food on this list, and it's a tough one for many people. Pastries, cakes, and those innocent little baked treats that show up at morning tea or family gatherings. They seem small, a muffin here, a slice of pie there, nothing extreme. But after 65, these sugar-heavy refined carb treats become harder for the body to process. The problem isn't just the sugar, it's the combination of sugar, unhealthy fats, and refined flour that creates the perfect storm inside your body. These treats send your blood sugar soaring, then crashing. That roller coaster makes your body more resistant to insulin over time, leading to increased fat around the belly and higher inflammation throughout the body, including in your arteries. That inflammation slowly eats away at the heart's health, making it more vulnerable to blockages and strain. And here's the sneaky part. Because these foods are so tied to celebration, comfort, and love, it feels like turning away from them is turning away from joy. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can still enjoy sweetness. It's just about finding ways to bring it into your life without the hidden costs. One woman I spoke with in her early 70s used to bake every weekend for her grandchildren. It was her ritual: cookies, cakes, brownies, you name it. When she was diagnosed with high blood sugar, her first fear was losing that connection with her grandkids. But instead of giving it up, she began exploring healthier recipes, using almond flour, natural sweeteners like dates or honey, and even fruits like mashed bananas or applesauce. Not only did she feel better, but her grandkids loved the new treats. It became a bonding moment rather than a loss. And that's really the heart of all this, isn't it? Making changes that bring you more life, not less of it. More energy, more ease, more moments with the people you love. Food is just one part of the picture, but it's a powerful one. Because what you feed your body directly affects how you feel, physically, mentally, emotionally. Let's take a breath here and look at where we've come. We've uncovered 6 common foods, some obvious, some not so much, that could be silently damaging your heart after 65. From processed meats and white bread to sugary drinks and creamy spreads, from canned soups to those innocent pastries. These foods can quietly add stress to your heart without you even noticing, but now you do notice. Now you see the patterns, the ingredients, the choices, and that awareness gives you back control. And here's something beautiful. It's never too late to make a change. The body is incredibly resilient, even in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Studies have shown that people who make heart-friendly changes at any age can still reduce their risk of heart disease, improve their blood pressure, and even reverse some damage that's already been done. That's not just science, that's hope. So what can you do today? Start small. Pick one item, just one, from the list we talked about and swap it for something better. If you usually have sweetened tea, try it with a slice of lemon and a touch of honey. If you love toast, try a sprouted grain version with a drizzle of olive oil instead of butter. If you enjoy baked treats, explore a heart-healthy recipe. The key is not to do everything at once, it's to begin. Step by step, bite by bite. You might not notice the change in a day, but give it a week, 2 weeks, a month, and you'll start to feel it. You'll wake up with more energy. You'll breathe a little easier. Your walks will feel lighter. You might even surprise your doctor at your next checkup. And along the way, celebrate your wins. Every choice you make to care for your heart is an act of self-love, and you deserve that deeply, completely. You've lived through enough to know that life is precious, health is sacred, and joy comes not just from indulgence, but from feeling alive. If any of this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you tried any of these changes before? What's been the hardest food for you to give up or the easiest one to swap? Sharing your experience could help someone else who's on the same journey. And if this video helped you feel a little more empowered, a little more hopeful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more uplifting health conversations just like this one. Let's keep supporting each other, growing together, and remembering, it's never too late.